Speak of the devil. Constellation contact is on approach.
Wait, the Explorers group? Thought they were kind of a joke.
Not a joke. You're just too young to know better.
Hey, I'm just saying they got a reputation. Hell, I bet half the crew here doesn't even believe they really exist.
Half the crew doesn't believe Earth exists, but it's still there. Same with Constellation.
Yeah, but come on. Exploring space? Who does that anymore?
Oh, you don't
Maybe
look
space
good.
we've already got complicated enough.
Not to them, apparently.
How'd they sucker you to join? Fall for the fancy pamphlets? Lynn sure seems to like you. Guess you would know, being the boss and all.
All right, Dusty. Airlock. Put your helmet on. Barrett?
Man,
Been a long time.
yes it has. That mine on Bendy, right?
Kazal, hellhole, like this place. Rare mineral content. The tastes are a bit more sophisticated now, huh?
So, you found something?
Right here. The new guy found it.
That's right. And everything went cool? Just like grabbing those minerals on Bendy?
Kazal, and no Barrett. Not cool. He passed out after the extraction. Woke up saying all kinds of nonsense.
Is that right, cowboy? Went on a trip, huh? That fun, huh? Not the most gentle push into the great mysteries of space, but hey, been there.
Look, just hand over the credits, and I'll be happy to never see this thing, or you, ever again.
That's why I like you, Lynn. All business.
Barrett, the scanners on the frontier are reporting a ship coming in hot from orbit.
I really thought I'd lost them.
Barrett?
Oh, shit! That's the Crimson Fleet! You gotta be kidding me!
We've got this!
Okay, stick to cover. Stick to cover.
What's it been like going back 30 FPS? Is it still jarring after all these hours? Or has it become
not feel pain, but I hear it is terrible.
Oh! Not fair.
I'm out! Can't believe the Crimson Fleet hit us.
Of course.
Well, that was some fine work under pressure. You dug up the artifact, right? That means you saw it. The visions. You're coming with me to Constellation. You're part of this now.
Resetting the app fixes it. I had to do that twice. It was during that story moment, then on hard. But otherwise, yeah, like that was the main two bugs for me. I had a couple of waypoint bugs where, like, when I was doing the UC Vanguard quest line, like they were directing me to the Mast building, and it was like shooting me.
Thinking it over?
Pretty much. Like,
Good instinct.
tell me to go, but I knew I had to go to the elevator in the heart of the building, and if I didn't know that, it just was completely
Marvelous.
Oh, no, Barrett. No. You think you're just going to take off after the mess you caused?
All right. I guess I did just put you all on the Crimson Fleet hit list. How about I stay and I send your Dusty here in my place? I know, but he's not some miner anymore, Lynn. As soon as he touched that rock, something changed. Don't tell me you can't feel it.
Fine. It's a deal. Get out of here, Dusty. You're on to bigger things. Just go. Before I say something I regret.
Well, now that that's settled. Vasco, get him to the lodge. No deviations unless absolutely necessary, okay? Protocol Indigo.
Indigo. Again. Very well.
Oh, and hey, take this. You'll find it very useful out there. And it even tells the time. watch fits you perfectly. Now, questions? Come on. You really not at all curious about that light and music show you experienced? Why it only affected you? Because if you didn't notice, we've all been handling it since with no problem. The way I see it, Constellation needs that artifact, but they also need you. This mystery is only getting bigger each step we take, and you're part of it now. Technically, it's not even mine. Consider it alone. Vasco will keep you on course. Besides, I'm making an exception since you can tell Constellation about that vision you had. See, that's the problem with the settled systems. Too easy to take everything for granted. While everyone else is busy playing politics, we're the ones braving the unknown, charting the vastness of space. Without us, the galaxy is just a big room with the lights turned out. What? That, my friend, is the million-credit question. And Constellation can find the answer, with your help. They're just following the loot, like pirates do. And I have something of a reputation as a loot collector. And Vasco, don't let him break my ship.
I was just talking with the bugs. I didn't really run into any bugs. 30 FPS was totally fine. I'm totally cool with 30
You
FPS
going?
games anyway, so
Staying around isn't helping us out any.
I still play games at 30 FPS. I just play 5
We're still in one piece. Oh, God. I'm gonna throw up.
I saw some textures like kind of like flickering in and out, but it was pretty weird.
Been in a few scuffs.
This attack better not be coming out of our pay.
Lost plenty of friends. Get that artifact at Constellation.
And there was one quest that was booked where a woman had to introduce me, so she had to another place, and she just wasn't moving. I was just saying, am I doing the quest wrong? What are you doing? I keep trying to talking to her, and she's not doing anything. And then she just didn't move, so I just reloaded to two saves before, and pretty much it was just swipe. She's not moving, and there we go. Yeah, so it's just like when you guys experience like everyone's ball, no legs, women not moving to activate the quest. The game is auto-saving copiously, which is generous and nice, and it's useful. And so just take advantage of that whenever you see any kind of bug that just trips you up. For me, in terms of to answer Manny's question about whether I've had like that experiences, I've never really had that either. You know, I've never really seen. Even with Cyberpunk, I never really saw anything crazy. Cyberpunk is like the mystery, not the mystery. Like that's the one that I played that I know was like the biggest case of like me just having that and Jedi Survivor, like completely different experience of like product before launch and product after launch. Like Cyberpunk, when I was reviewing it, like it was a little.
They let you really zoom out on your character.
The
That's
montages you
wild.
see for it are like horrible. And you're like, I didn't have that. I was like, holy shit, though, this looks bad. Yeah, so I didn't. To me,
Just
you know,
up the ramp, Captain. I'll be in the external robotics bay.
Starfield, out of all the quests I've done, with that bug done, I've had way more quests in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 that would just stop because the NPCs
Captain,
were doing what they were supposed to do.
I assume you know how to fly a Class A starship. As Barrett likes to say, it's as easy as learning to ride a bike. I will attempt to boost the shields
That's difficult.
That, they used to joke that they would have every single QA tester in the world testing this game, and they've been testing it for a long time, so and it really shows. It just really shows in the end product. Again, Series S performance great, Series X performance great. You don't even think about a PC. I don't even know, but I'm sure it'll be fine eventually. So.
Probably the PC is probably maybe the loudest, community episode. But man, I was gonna say, Josh was curious about your maybe the discourse that may happen in reference to graphical fidelity of Starfield. I'm curious how you're talking to take that.
I'm definitely in your camp on it. I just think people don't understand trade-offs, and it's not to protect Starfield. It's definitely the best looking Bethesda game studios game. There's no doubt about it. But for example, like the character models are spotty in quality, like the outfit, like the spacesuits and the guns, everything that looks really good. Some faces, you can tell, like all these games have the same problem when they're 3D. Like Sarah Morgan looks really good, but like random Jane in the middle doing like this looks.
Without no last name, if they ain't got no last name, just fantasy movies.
And the random citizen NPCs are crazy. There's some of them are super ugly, dude. They're generated like black people. I'm just like, dude, are you being racist? I think the comparisons are inevitably going to happen because people looked at Halo Infinite versus Call of Duty. That dumb shit, man. So like, what's going to happen. And I think it's just people exposing their ignorance at a certain time. It doesn't mean that Starfield's the best looking game. It has its moments of beauty, like when you're running around an isolated planet in third person. Yeah, my complaint is like, where's the stuff to do? Like, I'm looking fine with it. But at the same time, like when you're jumping around and zero gravity,
Shield's ready. The rest is up to you.
like, you're kind of in awe for a moment. It can visually look great, but that's not why you play. It's the same shit I said. Gene, you and I talked about it with Avowed. Like, yeah, I want Avowed to be respectable. Because I don't look at Obsidian like I look at Sony Santa Monica. I don't look at Obsidian to deliver to me a game that is this almost movie-like production that not only plays like one, but looks like one.
Now
And
that we are in Oregon,
Obsidian gives me a level of agency that I care more about than visuals for games. That's their identity. Bethesda's always been identified by their immersive worlds, and they have that.
the entire process.
They make it more immersive with denser crowds and much more detail in the environment, like Cogby mentioned, looting and picking things up. One thing that changed from Fallout 4 to Starfield that I love is like the interior decoration. So now when you pop open a locker, like in Starfield, you just hover over the locker and you see 7 bullets, 30 caps, and some detergent. And I'm like, okay, loot. But in Starfield, it's like you open the locker and it's a locker, and in there is like stuff on shelves, and you gotta look at each one and take your time going through it. That's true. That's the detail. Gives the immersion of feeling. Yeah, so you get that detail at different levels. Like,
Let's go over
and this isn't to size them up, but like, I'm not gonna go
control
and
at
like,
maximum speed.
why is it when I pop open one of your chests, I don't get to pick up every, like when Bethesda in Skyrim, like when you find gold on the ground, like when you find a pile, it's not just pile of gold, and it's like 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 piece, and so on. I'm not going up to God, why is it when I can't open this chest, I can't pick through every little axe and piece of gold you got in there, every gold you got in there. It's because they're totally different games doing totally different things. Like Bethesda thrives off interactivity, so when someone tries to size them up visually, we can talk about the game's visuals on their own versus their history, which I think is the best it's been. We can talk about it on an industry level. It's definitely not up to, I put it was industry standard. But when you look at the scale of the game and what it's trying to do, and what it also does extremely well, and how much dialogue's in the game, at a certain point you're exposing your own ignorance. Again, it's not to protect the game, it's just you're not recognizing what the developer's intent was, and you ignore that for the sake of pushing your own opinion. Again, you expose that you don't know what you're talking about, and you immediately make yourself easy to just turn around and listen to you. If you want to be heard, educate.
We should search the wreckage for spare parts.
Again, it's not to protect the game, because I think,
You will need to find
like I was saying earlier, character models are like hit or miss. Like, there are some in side quests that just don't look as cleaned up as some of the main story great components, and that's a little it's a little distracting at times. It's very oblivion. Like the camera zooms in, it's like shoulders up, lots of eyebrow bumps and eyes darting around while they're talking to you. Like that's where like it's a little janky and stuff, and it's not perfect there, but it looks a fuck ton better than anything we've got from them in a while. And I think for what it's doing, I find it totally acceptable where they're at visually. It's definitely acceptable. Like if you're so put off by visuals like Starfields, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like it's just like it's not a beautiful, perfect looking game, but it's also not ugly. So I don't know what you say.
Notice that the lighting in the planets, when there's a sun and inside of the planet, it is dark on the land. And then when you go down inside towards where you land, like the real-time lighting engine is actually going on within the planet map itself. So we kind of like dumb down like, oh, you gotta do a lot of fast travel against the planet map, but there are actual systems at work with the planet map itself where it's like that shit is moving in real time. Do you see that shit in God of War Ragnarok? Where the fucking sun is moving depending on where you land on the planet? No. In any game, when you get that here in Starfield, that's fucking fascinating. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah, you don't get to see that in many games.
Talk about the boundaries.
Yes, go for it.
Get forward. Jump right into it. Good transition. Yes, there's the controversy about boundaries, about how if you walk for a certain amount of time, you can't just walk forever. It's not
Continual assaults from airships are high enough to jeopardize our mission.
That's true.
They are after
You don't do that. And I didn't even bother testing it until people started talking about it.
local crimson.
I didn't test it because who the fuck wants to play the game that way?
Indicates an abandoned facility.
I sure as hell don't. I don't want to just walk around forever and ever, but I tried it anyways. And sure enough, it does happen. It happens after about 30 minutes. You're walking about the same size as a Fallout 3 or a Skyrim, and then you get there and it tells you to turn around. That's it. So every time you land on a planet, it is creating like a tile of land with stuff. Again, back to the the abandoned robotics factory and stuff like that. That stuff will happen, but it is producing a tile of land that you can kind of explore over. And yes, when you land next to New Atlantis, that is a completely separate tile of land than the land right next to New Atlantis. If you want to see the land right next to New Atlantis, leave New Atlantis, and then you can see, and then you will see the land around it. You can literally hop over the city walls, and you can walk around the land around that city. That shit's there. It's not just a city. That's awesome, you know.
You forget that sometimes when you're running around New Atlantis that you can actually like go out to those little areas beyond the city walls, which is just fucking crazy because the city itself is so big.
It's so massive. It's the whole size of like a Deus Ex game already, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do that. One thing, and back to your original long time ago point, Maddie, about the size of this game and the scale. The one big criticism I have that I actually highlight in my review is that you really lose the sense of intimacy and residence in the world, you know? Like, even after like 55 hours or whatever, I still don't really feel like that I live in any one place. And again, we talk about a step out moment. There's no... just completely remove the sense of awe and adventure. You know, there's nothing equivalent to walking from Fallout
We have arrived in
to Washington, D.C. and you're like,
with our Crimson Fleet captain is on the surface.
Sooner and sooner, you can see the capital growing larger. The anticipation of that, of like, oh my god, what is actually in Washington, D.C.? What is actually in Boston? New Vegas? What is actually in New Vegas? Because I'm in the outskirts. I'm gonna walk to New Vegas.
Is a really good one. Yeah.
There's no castle like on the mountaintop in Skyrim that we're walking to. You don't get that when you walk to the city, you land in it and you're in the city. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, and there will be parts of the adventure where like you might approach certain things from far away, but they're never as grand as like walking towards like a familiar place like Washington D.C. And then you get a real sense of like location. You know, like you're like, okay, I'm north of D.C., I'm west of D.C., or like Boston. It's like up down there or whatever. I forget exactly where Boston is, but you know, you know what I'm saying? Where there's just like there's no real cohesion that they sacrifice, and I get why. You know, you get why they did that, but I miss it. Like I do miss that feeling of
that scene in Need when you first start the game, and he just falls out of the fucking sky, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
where did this guy come from? And you like read his journal, and he's like making these special boots that let him jump in the sky. If you put them on and you jump, you die too. So, unless they put those in, you shouldn't be able to get into the skies of Morrowind or in Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, so I need to kind of mourn that loss of like, you know, like really like intimacy with the environment.
It's a trade-off.
You really know where you're going. And here it's like, okay, I'm just running back and forth. I'm new lattice. I'm going to the building. I'm going to the little lodge. I'm going to do this and that. At a certain point, it just kind of feels like I'm doing errands and in a place that I do like I felt like I need working at. But like it never really felt like home. Like the whole Fallout 4 stuff moment was amazing, and because you see your house fucking destroyed, you know. And like that's an amazing moment. You don't get anything like that here. You don't get anything like that. So like if that's what you're looking for, you will miss it. You know.
Yes, I think that's valid, and I think that's what, based on what Matt was saying earlier, where I definitely understood where he was coming from. I think the challenge here is, again, I'm trying to be balanced because my
Be careful,
sci-fi
Captain.
love is so
Alien
strong,
creatures
and
are often
exploration is so strong,
unpredictable.
but I understand if, you know, coming from
Protecting
that's the
combat.
game where it's almost like Starfield has added this third piece to a game, right? That never like it's like almost games were 2D and flat. This new third piece.
No,
of
it's definitely
space.
true. That's true.
Right? And it's like, how do they and still have that classic feel? And I think the way I was able to internalize it, because I do feel what you guys said, Shane, about being lived in, and it feels like it's yours, and knowing it, and the idea was down on the mountain, right? That's what we love and we're used to. And I think for me, once I got into the rhythm of it, I was like, okay, Starfield is not that. Starfield wants me to go out, check things out, and then along the way things may happen. And then obviously, like we talked earlier, do the main quest, and then you can see this world develop around you and understand what's going on. And I think it's a valid criticism you guys have, because this may be the disconnect for some, right? Who want the traditional BGS experience, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but I don't know if I can rank it over, you know, Skyrim, Fallout 3.
Let's start right in.
So many good transitions today. It's perfect.
Yeah, I know. It's set up for here. It's been better this week. I know everyone is definitely going to be in the honeymoon phase for a few weeks, but where does Starfield rank into the mighty Bethesda? Thanks for reading and having. I just started a new job this week, and I'm still finding a way to
United Colonies
September 1st.
but we call it
Thanks for
Freestar
reading and
Collective
writing.
Space.
I imagine
It
this is
then
more of a
stands to
wrap-up
reason
question
that this
than
was
like
what
us getting
happened.
any final thoughts
Protocol
about Starfield,
Indigo
but if
dictates
you don't
that
mind, Jets,
I am
I'd
to
love to
return
just-
to the lodge with no deviations.
Go for it.
We are here to stop the Crimson Fleet from pursuit. Nothing more.
And guess what I haven't finished one of? Action Quest Nights. So, and with 70 hours in, so. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can count the main story. The main story can technically count as one. That's really what this film is.
I have often asked Barrett that same question at various times, and about various individuals that wanted to cause us harm. The most likely answer is that Barrett personally insulted him, typically by continuing to live, usually after escaping from certain death, and often with an object multiple people wanted.
Is it better in Oblivion? Morrowind? Yes, I think so. Maybe Morrowind's like more impressive as an RPG, but like, I think it's better in those games. Is it better in Fallout 4? 100%. It's better in 76. Totally. There's no question about that. And what I recognize when looking at that Pantheon is like, okay, so you have Fallout 4, a great game that I think is missing a lot of key pieces that make it Fallout. 76, I don't need to go into, we already know that. And Oblivion and Morrowind are really fucking old. And I'm like, okay, so in the pantheon of like modern, top tier, timeless Bethesda games, this actually falls to the bottom of the three, right? That's how I look at it, I mean. But I could see over time, because like the thing is these other series that have time to be nurtured, and the DLC, like I don't like to look at games this way, but like there's no denying that Bethesda Game Studios games are different beasts. And I'm not even talking about just modding, which absolutely, like, people can say all they want, like Skyrim's timeless, bro, we're fucking modding that game. Like, that is a big reason why we love Skyrim, is how customized lot of Skyrim in this game, and I think it does a lot of Skyrim better. Fallout 3 though, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. That's your baby. That's your baby. I don't think that'll ever happen. But Starfield is among the top. It definitely surpasses even the ones I have nostalgia for to some degree, but not the ones I have strong feelings for. But I have to be fair and honest and say that part of the reason I love those games so much is I've had a decade plus with Skyrim. I've had since 2000, probably. I think I played the first time really in 2009, Fallout 3. I've had a long time to really let these feelings set in, return playthroughs. So I struggle probably more than most people to be like, here's where it ranks. Some people will just fire off, and that's fine. But for me, I'm like, that's where I find it, like in the top 3, which I think is pretty good for starters when I haven't even finished the game. What about you guys?
Hey, this is tough because it's early, and I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment, and I'm trying to assess this thing fairly. Is it a perfect game? No, of course. There's some flaws. There's some things that prevent it from being, in my opinion, like the 10 out of 10 kind of game. But what it does so well, it really shines. And man, like when you look at the pantheon for me, I have Skyrim. It's almost one of those kind of untouchables in a sense, right? It was so generationally defining for its time. The Dragonborn, the class, everything about that game I truly love. The thing about Starfield, which makes it special, is I can't stop thinking about it, and I want to go back to it all the time. And it has such an addictive quality that even when I beat Skyrim, I'm like, okay, this was great. I know they come out with DLC. I'm gonna be there, and I'll jump in for the DLC. This is different though, because for the first time, I think the fact that the main narrative is so compelling and truly synergizes and opens up the world, like Gene said, like you understand what they're trying to do, and now I'm like, oh my God, the possibilities here, right? So again, I don't want to be prisoner of the moment and say slanderous, it's over, Skyrim and Fallout 3 just yet. But it could be one of those when it's all said and done for me. It could. But it's too early. Obviously, I gotta get where Maddie and Gene is at, right? And mind you, I am not where Gene is at. Still too early for us. Right. Gene has completed. He's like, and me and Maddie kind of, right, we're very cool. We've got so much hours on everything else to try to get a more well-rounded, thing. So it's gonna be tough for me, man. To me, it's a good sign that I'm already in this mental anguish of where I'm gonna put it. But yeah, I think right now it's at the 3 spot for sure. Right now, it's the 3 spot for sure. Skyrim, Fallout 3. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously we're gonna talk about the Vegas, but we'll get to that. But the thing is, when it's all said and done, yes, I will say the potential for me, number one, is there. It is still there, but I have to see how it plays out. That's where I'm at. Gene, how about you?
Exactly where you're at, Manny. I hold Fallout 3 in the same high esteem. It's a top 10 game for me. Up there with I like I would rank Fallout 3 easily above both Red Dead Redemptions. 100%. 100% easily, no problem, right? I think Fallout 3 is. I like it better than New Vegas, and I recognize that. Yeah. But I recognize that New Vegas is a lot better in many other ways. But I think as an overall package and as an experience, as a first-time experience, I'll never forget the first time I played Fallout 3. I really felt like that it changed my life. I built my personality around it. It introduced me to new kinds of music. I'm a huge fan of the Ink Spots now. I bought their vinyls. Because I love that whole era of doo-wop music.
That whole era.
I was like, Fallout just introduced me to new music. It's great. Yeah, I built my whole personality around it. I bought Fallout merchandise. Nothing will ever be Fallout 3. I don't think anything Bethesda will do from here on out will ever be the Fallout 3. If they keep making games like this, it's always going to be fun. It's always going to be in the shadow of Fallout 3. Skyrim is also tough too, because Skyrim, I started playing Bethesda games at Morrowind. So when I played Oblivion, I was like, oh, this is just prettier, simpler Morrowind. Okay, I'm into this. scratched the surface, you know. This could be better than Skyrim, you know.
No, it kind of explains why they never did previews for the game, right? Because I was thinking that when I first played when it was 20 hours in, I was like, you could have given me 5 hours with this game, which is massive for a preview, and I would have not been able to tell you shit. It just would have been like a vomit of like different experiences from different people. But like even like it's crazy to think we're all so deep into the game. There's still so much to be seen.
So that's the thing. It's like, so that's why like I say that I think Starfield is at least as good as Skyrim, if obviously not as revolutionary, right? But I think it's at least as good as those games. I think it's better than Fallout 4. I think it retains a lot of that weird like wacky humor, like all these wacky side quests that just kind of come up. Like I'm so glad that I kind of feel like that they kind of walked back a lot about Fallout 4, because Fallout 4 was so much about the gameplay loop as opposed to the role play. You know, it's all about crafting and getting this new gear, and then you go to an adventure and then you get more stuff, and then that's just feeding into the blah blah blah. But like the dialogue wasn't there, and the role playing really wasn't there. I still played like 700 hours of Fallout 4, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah, right. It's kind of weird. Like I'm so critical of these games, but I'm just like, yeah, I still like through an ungodly amount of hours compared to any other game I've ever played. Isn't it?
Yes. So what are you even really doing here? You know, like we're talking about how Fallout 4 is trash, even though we've dedicated like an entire career to talking about it and playing it. So that's why it's like I don't even know how to gauge Starfield. That's why like reviewing this game sucks. You know, because it's like whatever we say tomorrow could be completely different. You know, you want to talk about Manny's Fallout 4 review? You know, I was hyped on Fallout 4 too. The problems of Fallout 4 don't become evident until you spend like 100 hours in and whatever. You know, so it's really hard to get it. So like I'm high on the game right now. I could still see a couple problems. I'm gonna play 700 hours of Starfield, no problem. Out of any game this year, including Baldur's Gate 3, this is gonna be the game I play the most. You know.
Yeah, I think that's how it's gonna end up for me too. I think this and Baldur's Gate 3 are probably our most played games, but I just see Starfield being the one that keeps pulling me back in 100%. Just
Baldur's Gate 3 is it the better game? I think it's better constructed. There's so much more intentional design, and like a lot of the systems kind of like fit a little bit better than Starfield, because then you can tell, just like you said, there's so much like features creep in this game where it's like more stuff, more of this, more of that, and it's like they're trying to make that fit, and it takes a while. I initially thought that the crafting system was all fucked in this game. I was like, whatever, like this isn't working out, right? But it wasn't until I started figuring out how it worked and how it grab stuff and lose stuff. I was like, okay, now I'm actually seeing like we keep going back to the abandoned. I keep mentioning the abandoned robot. It was like that still is a factor that would be helpful for me. Like once I need new shit, you know. So it's like I can start to see how this game is making a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
But it's not as immediately evident, and it's not as clean as like a Baldur's Gate 3, or even like, you know, when you want to talk about comparing like games that don't make any sense, like Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom gives you a seamless experience from jumping from the top of a sky castle, past to the sky into the surface of the planet, and you going down into the core, all seamless. That happens on a Nintendo Switch. You can't get an experience like that in Starfield. But Starfield offers like a billion other things too.
Yeah.
So these games are really hard to judge, but you really gotta like take it for what it is. But the problem is taking Starfield for what it is gonna take a really long time.
Yes. Oh god. I don't think anyone out the gate that I've talked to, as we kind of went over here, but I think this is just a fair warning to the audience as they're probably getting ready to fire the game up, is when you do start it, I don't expect anyone to love it right away. I don't think you fall in love with Starfield right away. I like, even me, pure, sheer, unadulterated hype, just fucking crazy for Starfield. Carnage is the trademark. Hitting that start button, oh my god, what a feeling! Like, holy shit, it's real. And even I just be prepared for the intro and that sequence. It's just not great. It's a steady build up though, and I think if you run that main story for at least a little bit, I don't know if it'll let go of you, but I think if you run that main story for at least a little bit and get your feet wet, you may have a better time than people who I've spoken to. And I cannot wait already for next week's episode. I'm very curious to see what the reviews will be, because like everyone I've talked to has just been like, yeah, it's fucking great, dude. And we're like, it's good. I'm really liking it. It's a Bethesda game. I'm like,
Should it be in next week's episode?
you're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
just listen as a fan. I don't know. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll discuss. Door's always open. But gentlemen, is that all we have to say right now about Starfield?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the moment, right? We made it so long. We've been waiting for this game, and look, I want to shout out the team, because at the end of the day, regardless to the any nitpicks or flaws we may have, the sheer undertaking and labor of love you can see that was put into this game, it's a lot. The complexities of what they were trying to accomplish, I do feel, deserve some praise. And again, Maddie, I'm with you in the beginning. I'm like, man, I don't know. We gotta see.
Yeah.
But as I keep going, it's like Gene says, if something goes off, and I'm like, ding, I get it now. But look, we're here. I'm very curious to see how the community receives it. How everyone's experience are. What more new things we learn. In this conversation, I've learned. I can't wait to go play. I'm like, I learned like 4 things from you guys, and I'm like, I had no idea none of that could happen. And then Maddie talking about leading and popping out. I'm like, okay, it's.
Did you guys laser? That was something I learned kind of late. When you hold the left trigger when you're mining lasers out, you'll see the red will start shrinking. And there are certain rocks that take longer to mine, but if you hold the left trigger and then fire while it's fully powered up, like it just mines in a heartbeat. That was something else I learned. I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of hidden features. I'm making a video on it because I was like, there's so many little secrets in this game that they just never tell you.
Top 30 things to do and stuff. Like, content. Yeah, the guide community.
They're gonna feast, bro. Anyone? I was thinking of it while I was playing. When I used to do guide videos, I'm like, oh my god, there could be some gems that make their fucking living off this.
I'm already speaking Longman now. I'm like, get on it, guys.
Just as a fan, please help me, because I need to find this other shit. I want that spaceship and that outfit that I told you guys about. I don't even know how to tell you guys how to get there.
That's the interesting part about the game. There's so many star systems and planets, and you get a thing. If you don't write it down in that moment,
good point.
And it's hard to know if you can repeat it because of the way the game procedurally generates. You're like, was that? Because there were moments you're like, was that real? Was that handcrafted there? What happened there?
So I was a little notorious because I don't want to I forgot how to manuscript. I forgot how to write shit on pencil and pen or whatever. So I'm literally as a tourist taking photos of my screen. I'm like, okay, this is that planet. It's like, okay, this is what the building looks like. And when a character is telling me, remember, you need to say this when the discussion comes. I'm just like, oh fuck. So I'm just like,
Xbox screenshot. I was like, I gotta do something because
I get too paranoid about doing that because I get worried it uploads to the Xbox network and I'm breaking NDA without knowing it. I get so worried about that, bro.
Yeah, so I didn't do that. That's why I was using my phone, and plus it's just easier to do. So I'm just using my phone. So I'm a literal space tourist, just going experiencing this time and trying to remember, because I am completely forgetting where I've been. I forgot where all the crafting desktops were. They showed me where it was, and I was like, I haven't crafted anything in 10 hours. I'm not engaging with this mechanic. I need to remember where it is, and I was like, oh, it's just in the basement of the lodge. So if you want a good area to just craft a bunch of stuff,
I forgot about that. Yeah, that place is just tucked away. I didn't even realize it was down there until a certain point. I was like, wow, this place is bigger than I thought. The second floor is so nice in the lodge. Very cozy. Very cozy. All right, gents. Great talk on Starfield. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope it delivered after all this time. And now we just move into a brief question from the audience. And Game Pass picked the week, believe it or not, because I want to make sure we still continue to deliver on that, even if people aren't going to be playing Starfield for whatever reason. This question comes from Mike Poe. I just thought it was a really interesting one to just wrap things up on. Good day, Dukes. First of all, much love to Cog, and I hope he's on the swift path to recovery. Sea of Stars is getting excellent reviews, and the reception to it and Baldur's Gate 3 has me thinking we're at a high watermark for RPGs. I did want to ask, though, Maddie, if you and the other dev team members for your game are looking at these two games for ideas or inspiration. If you don't want to talk too much about your game, then we can generalize this question out to other devs. Based on conversations you've had with developers, do devs actively try to take inspiration from hit games that come out, or do they ignore them and try to preserve their original ideas, design ideas, without influence of other games? I'd love to hear all's thoughts. Thanks. Thank you, Mike, for writing in. Now, I know this is kind of directed towards me, and I can kind of start off by answering that a little bit, but I think we'll get more into how developers interpret things from games and turn them into their own ideas. For me, like, not really anymore because we're so deep in the design of our game. Like, we've kind of fortified this is what it's going to be, so we're not veering from that. It's really about like testing and making it better, that type of stuff. But as it stands, like on paper, what we're implementing, like that's pretty rigid. But yeah, when we started, like the first thing I did was looked at my favorite games, and I was like, what do I like about this? What makes it tick? Like, it goes from like enthusiast level, like, oh, I really like this thing, to like studying games you really like as a science. And I kind of enjoy doing it anyway because like it just made me a better commentator. I felt like, okay, what makes Fallout 3 work? It's like, oh, I love just the random exploration and the history in every location you go through. I'm like, okay, write a note about that. Right? Like, okay, I like that about it. And you just make this list of ideas that are across genres that aren't cohesive, and you start to think to yourself based off the game you're making, how do I tie all these elements together and make it feel wholly original? That's how I've looked at it. And yeah, like I look at games even to this day, like really Baldur's Gate, or as like writing inspiration. I studied like, why do I think the writing is so good in New Vegas? And I look and I'm like, it's the choices, it's the characters, it's the backstory. And it's asking yourself, like, how does a conversation progress well? Like, what do they leave out as extra details? What's need to know information? Like, you start to, again, break it down into a science more so. And, like, yeah, even Starfield. And that's when I kind of start to know I have a great game on my hands, is when I start thinking about my own more, like, ideas to make things better, or how I would propose an idea. Like, definitely when the game gets the creative juices flowing is when I know that this developer's got something. So I don't always use it as like a definitive barometer for success with these games, but like it helps my YouTube coverage too, because I get more into the finer details of the game. But Gene, I know you've interviewed a ton of developers, far more than me, and I'm curious if this is something you've stumbled upon. Have you heard? Because I always felt like a lot of developers are kind of almost treated as like taboo to reference directly, like. In movies, they're like, oh, we watched, I don't know, TMNT, I don't fucking know. And they're like, we really liked what they did with the costume design there, so we wanted to do that. But in games,
TMNT
like,
was itself, the creators were like, oh yeah, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Daredevil.
Exactly. And I plan when I release the game, like, I'm going to be very open about our inspiration, because I feel like it's weird developers hide it. Like, so many games started to look like Fortnite. So many games started to look like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm like, it's so obvious your inspiration visually, but you're not talking about it. And I feel like that almost taboo nature in the conversation, I've always found it very odd. So I'm curious, Gene, in your time, and Cog, especially you, because you've interviewed a ton of devs too, Gene, have you heard developers talk about, leaning into ideas from games that they've played, and do they try to keep them original, or do they say, like, oh, that's a good idea, how can we evolve that?
I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think that's a fascinating point. It's such a huge difference about the way our creators in our industry operate versus the others. Because again, like you mentioned, TMNT and Laird and Eastman are very openly like, oh yeah, this was just like Daredevil, but just with turtles. They're open about their influences. Whereas in the game industry, like nobody will say that Skyrim and Oblivion influenced them. But you think about sticking with the Bethesda theme of this episode, Bethesda games are so influential, The reason why Demon's Souls exists is because PlayStation needed an answer to Oblivion. And they went to FromSoft and they were like, yo, because a game like that, and Miyazaki was like, alright, well, whatever, I'll tell FromSoft. And he had to literally lie to PlayStation and be like, oh yeah, it's got swords and magic, yeah, no problem. That's so good. But it still stemmed from the idea of having to complete with Oblivion, because Oblivion was such a big deal. And Zelda itself is heavily inspired by Skyrim, and Nintendo is a company that does not talk about the influences and also kind of ignores influences. Yeah. But Skyrim was so big, so impactful, that it could not help but even inspire Nintendo. That said, Nintendo will never admit that, It's crazy. So I did interview Neil Druckmann this year, and he was very open about it. He's like, I'm looking at Elden Ring, and I'm looking at what they're doing, you know. That was really like the first. I love that, and that was the first instance where someone is finally admitting, like the industry is watching Elden Ring, and we're learning from this, you know. Because Elden Ring was a game so big, like even fucking Reggie Fils-Aimé was playing it. So I was like, you know, everybody in this industry is tearing apart this game right now, studying it, trying to see what makes it tick. You know, that's why you saw all the devs complain about the UI and everything like that, because Elden Ring was so influential that you could not ignore it, even if it's a game that you don't want to play. If it's your job to make video games, you need to play this video game, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, I wish developers would be more open about it, because y'all are weird and not doing it. You know, like why? What makes you so fucking special? What makes games so special? What makes games so special?
A feeling of like, oh, we copied too much, but I don't get that sense. Like, to me, my favorite games are honestly the ones where I see the very clear inspiration and it blends them all together. I mean, that's what we're trying to do with our game. Like, you're gonna see a lot of games that I really like in the game I'm making, and that's the goal. Like, I wanted to remind you of your favorite games, but because it puts them all together, which no game has done, and does some new ideas, that gives it its own identity. Like, that's my favorite form of game creation. Like, I noticed, like, Starfield, I guess you could say, is one. Like, you feel elements of No Man's Sky, and you know, a lot of the ship combat is reminiscent of not Everspace. I'm trying to think of the other one that's like that space game. Chorus. I can't remember what it was, but point being is, like, you see games like that feel like a lot of things bled into it, and I think those are just the best because they're mechanically diverse and everything feels fresh and inspired. Like, you start to feel like it's a pizza pie, and like every slice it has a different topping on it. And that's my favorite. Makag, when you spoke to developers, have you noticed any of them leaning in saying, like, we're looking at this game, you know, because I feel like it's important we do this, but it doesn't feel like it's happening enough.
No, I think rarely, because obviously I have a lot of personal relationship with a lot of devs, and like, say if you're in an off, you know, site kind of thing, and just kind of talking between the homies kind of vibe, then, you know, you'll get some banner right there, like, yeah, when this came out, you know, this truly changes. We had to look at everything different. But it's interesting what Gina said, where publicly you don't hear it. So I think that's where the business aspect gets in, and the egos a little bit, where it's like, I don't necessarily want to bend the knee, but we clearly know that there's certain games that are inflection points in the industry where the game changed, and you go, oh my god, like, you know what I'm saying, like, because of this game, because of Skyrim's open world, because of, I mean, even Fortnite to some extent with Battle Royale and stuff like that. There's certain things that happen in the industry where everyone goes, they go, you know what? Yeah, like that. Or in my experience, the publishers go to the dev and say, like what he said with Demons, we need one of those. We need that. And I think the ego of the dev sometimes make it crushed to be like, all right, we respect it. We can't say it, but we all trying to make an answer to that, right? So it's the competitiveness, the business side, yeah, that I think gets in the way. But if you speak to developers like a man, and one-on-one, and you get the honest truth, then people will say, man, yeah, that was great. I still look at, you know, I had a dev tell me one of his systems was kind of like, yeah, I looked at Mike Tyson punch out on a base level for certain things because I liked, you know, the way the combat was going and some aspects of it. So yeah, it's there. But yeah, the game industry is weird. they sometimes just don't want to give flowers all the time. But, you know,
I feel like it's definitely ego because, like, you know, like, I work at the Washington Post, right? And the New York Times is our big competitor, and they're beating us by a lot, right? And then they have a podcast, The Daily, right? And then we started our own podcast, which is daily, but it's not called The Daily. And it's like, we're never going to admit that we did it because the New York Times did it, you know? And people are going to be like, oh, yeah, well, the Post Reports podcast is completely, I was like, don't fucking play with me, dude. I work here, man. I know you guys weren't planning anything before the New York Times did it, which is pathetic, but anyways.
Well, actually, funny enough,
It's all ego involved.
It definitely is, and it's funny because the Game Pass Pick of the Week is one of those games I'm talking about, like one of those clearly, like, oh, I see the inspiration there, and I'll just transition right in if y'all don't mind.
let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
My Game Pass Pick of the Week is Sea of Stars. It's got to be Chrono Trigger meets Mario and Luigi.
Luigi series, straight up, man. Like, it does not hide its inspiration. Like, when you get into those encounters, there's no loading in screen, which I don't think is a problem in these turn-based games, but I like how Chrono Trigger just is very daring in that, like, you can fight anyone, anywhere. Sea of Stars does that, but when you're in combat, there's a lot of timing-based mechanics, which are very much like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Like, you know, you had to hit the A button at the right time to maximize.
Super Mario RPG coming being remade in November. That was the original. That was the original.
What was the original? I did that.
Super Mario RPG is the original concept of it.
Okay, so I never played that one. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, so Mario RPG meets Chrono Trigger. That's perfect. So, and that's what I love about what they're doing here, because, like, it's funny. You'd almost view it as a backtrack, right? Like, the Messenger, no one did what the Messenger did, right? Switching art styles, switching music as you time travel. Like, that's a perfect synchronization of visuals and narrative and gameplay and sound. And then you throw this witty ass writing on top of it. It's just an amazing movie, right? And then Sea of Stars just is very clearly inspired by games that we know and love, and look how well it's doing. So it just feeds right into what Mike's talking about. And so I'm just glad the game's doing well. But yeah, I played about like 5-6 hours of it at this point in time. I've been playing it on Nintendo Switch, because that's where the review code, even though it came in very late, that's where it came in. So I also feel like this is, Eugene, you talked about it earlier, how, like, you know, certain games you just think in your head, like, oh, we'll play that there. And it's like, Sea of Stars is a Switch game for me, 100%.
Absolutely.
Especially that OLED screen. Oh my god.
I wish games would wear the influences and wear the sleeves. I'm thinking back to Shadow of Mordor, Middle Earth, right?
Oh god, yeah.
Like you see the trailer, I was like, dude, you're just ripping off Arkham, and I'm gonna play the shit out of your game.
Like, imagine if developer just play
Arkham, and I
love the
love
Arkham
it.
games. Yep. 100%.
I still own Arkham ripoffs to this day. I still think we haven't ripped off the game.
We had it though. We got Mad Max, we got the Shadow of Mordor and War games, and that was it.
And Spider-Man, I guess.
That's true.
About it, you know.
Yeah, we need more.
Mad Max rules.
I didn't like it at first, but I feel like I didn't get it, right? Now I would say, like, bro, there were like arm breakers you do in that game. That shit is wild. That's a good game, yeah.
It's a good game. It's Batman where you kill people. It's awesome, dude.
It really is.
Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs.
Oh,
Sleeping Dogs. You want to talk about Batman where you kill people? Sleeping Dogs.
Bro, there's some fucked up executions in that game, man. I love that game. So you want to talk about it? That's on Starfield levels of, oh, that's a good main story. I did not expect that, bro. Shout out to my man Jackie. Jackie and Wade Sherry. That's a brotherhood I'll never forget. But Sea of Stars. Yeah, so the combat's very Chrono Trigger-like in the encounters. But what happens is you have skills that cost MP, and when you attack enemies, that's how you gain your MP back with, like, your basic attacks. So it's kind of like a nice tug of war. And then, like Chrono Trigger, there are combo attacks, which I don't know if any other games have ripped off this mechanic, but I'm happy that we're getting rip-offs of that, because it's a good idea to, like, have your party members team up with a little combo meter. And it works really well here, like, you know, because there are weaknesses you can target on enemies, not in your standard JRPG way, like, oh, you're weak to fire, but an enemy will, like, wind up an attack, you know, say, like, it's at 100% power. They'll have, like, a hammer and a moon next to it. It's like, okay, like, I gotta hit it with a hammer attack and a moon attack. So sometimes the combo attacks work really well at wiping that out. And if you hit those weaknesses and time them out well, it'll stop the attack entirely. So that kind of rhythm, plus, like, boosting where you can absorb power based off the normal attack damage you did, and boost again and do more damage or do more heals. Like, there's a lot of layers where it's very mechanically deep, but it's not like your standard RPG where they're like, here's spells, here's skills, here's abilities, and they just make you go in menus and edit builds, which I love. But this game's very different. This game's very Super Mario, very Mario Luigi RPG. Like, okay, we gave you this set of mechanics, and we're just gonna stretch it as wide as we can. And so it leads to some really good boss fights. The music is great. It's by the composer of Chrono Trigger, if my memory serves me right, which is like, hello, like, it's gonna be really good. The story, very wholesome, good wholesome energy, with occasional serious undertones, but the writing isn't on the level I feel right now for my time playing it as The Messenger. Though The Messenger is a way better written game. I think because there was a surprise, like, this is fucking hilarious, but there was also a point to it all, like an end goal with it all with Sea of Stars. I think it's more focused, but it's also like those first like 3-4 hours are just these terms, and you just crawl through the game, and you're like learning step by step what they all are. But yeah, it's an easy Game Pass pick of the week. I mean, this is probably the easiest one we've had in a while. Like, it's just a great game. It's, from what I've seen online, I haven't beat it yet, but like 25, 30 hours, so it's doable. Might be a good little thing to offset the palette with Starfield if you got the time for it, given how big Starfield is. I don't know how y'all are going to do it, but I wanted to make sure that for those of you who are not into Starfield, which there are people in our audience who are not, that you're hooked up with something to go out and play and download. And Sea of Stars does get the Maddie Seal of approval. I do have a review impressions video over on Retro Rebound if you want to check out more focused ones, I guess. But yeah, Sea of Stars is great. I haven't yet to see the like 95 open critic type grade, but it is still really good. And so I want to make sure I give it some